So, with all that said, I'll say One of Us is Lying is... So recently, I have been on a Netflix phase of sorts. It all started with Squid Game and has included the best, the mediocre and the trashiest shows Netflix has to offer. Having recently completed All of Us Are Dead. By the way, you should definitely check out my review on that show. I'll link it right here and in the description. I stumbled across another show which has a similarly interesting title that rolls off your tongue. One of Us is Lying. Now, One of Us is Lying is actually a Paramount Plus show, but for some reason it's on Netflix. Okay. Anyway, I did exactly as Netflix would like, binge everything in my life for 2 days just so I could watch this show, because nothing is more essential to life than entertainment. I bet Netflix is proud. Now I actually have some things to say about it. But first, what the hell is One of Us is Lying all about anyway? Well, the premise of this show is very simple. One of Us is Lying takes place in an American high school where a student called Simon writes a blog called About That, in which he basically exposes the various secrets of students attending a school. The main story of the show begins when Simon is put in detention with 4 other students on the first day of senior year. During detention, Simon, who is allergic to nuts, drinks a cup of water and then collapses and dies due to an allergic reaction. Now, obviously, it doesn't make sense to get an allergic reaction to nuts from drinking a cup of water. So the question becomes, who killed Simon? And that is basically what the show is about. It's basically about these 4 students trying to figure out who killed Simon, if it was one of them or not. This show is actually based on the best-selling book of the same title. There is always controversy surrounding adaptations like this as to how faithful the movies or series are to the books. So I guess I should say before I start this, I have not read this book, I do not plan to read this book, and I have definitely not gone online to check on the opinions of those who have read this book as to whether this movie matches the book. I do not care about this book. I am just saying. I basically watched this show like any other person who stumbles across this show would watch it. Like a random Earthling. Anyway, I would say this show is actually quite interesting. They do a few things right. First of all, the premise of the show is quite engaging. It's basically a murder mystery show. It's all about these 4 students who are accused of murdering this one student, Simon, and them trying to find out who killed Simon. The premise sounds simple, but the show is actually engaging enough to keep you interested till the final episode. It doesn't get too boring at any point, and it doesn't get too cliche at any point either. The show also does a very good job of keeping you guessing till the very end. I could not tell who the killer was until the second to the last episode actually. And I think that's great. One other thing I like about the show is also how the group constantly kept getting the killer wrong up until they finally found who the killer was. I think that's something that probably sets it apart a bit from other mystery dramas in that sense. Now I guess I should say, going ahead, there will be a few spoilers in this review. There will be nothing major, nothing that is big enough to ruin the show, and every spoiler I'm going to mention are probably things you're going to find out within the first 2 to 3 episodes anyway, so they shouldn't ruin your enjoyment of the show. But I'm just going to put it out there, and I will put a spoiler warning before every little spoiler. So the first thing I want to talk about is the characters. Now the actors in this show actually do a pretty decent job of selling the characters and selling the struggles of the characters, but I only have one question. What is up with Hollywood and casting these guys as teenagers? I don't get it. Like, why do they keep doing this? I understand it's because they want to put in these sex scenes into these movies, which, by the way, side note, do people really be out there having sex like this at 15, 16? Like, was this going on in your schools? I think you'll tell me. Okay, I think the characters in this show are supposed to be seniors, so they are supposed to be 17 years old. But you all Americans out there, or wherever you're from, tell me down in the comments, are people really out there having sex like rabbits while in high school? I would really like to know, because I have never experienced that personally. Anyway, back to what I was saying. How am I supposed to believe that these guys are 17? Like, yo, at multiple times, Marianne Teje, oh my god. Marianne Tejada.
You do.
I'm sorry, I can't pronounce this. This lady who plays Brownwing in the show, as multiple times she looks like she is aged 15 years in between shots, and you go Google it and you find out she's actually 29 years old, and it makes sense because she does not look 17. Like, really, Hollywood? How am I supposed to believe that this guy right here is 17? This guy, this guy looks like he could be my big brother. Really? Anyway, the actors do quite a good job generally at portraying their characters. I just don't know how I'm supposed to watch the show and look at them all with a straight face, believing they're all 70 years old. I mean, there are younger actors you could cast out there, I'm sure. Cast 21-year-olds, cast 19-year-olds. I mean, they are all adults as well. Moving on, one of the big issues I had with this show is also how the secrets were revealed. Now, as I said earlier, Simon writes a blog in which he basically exposes the secrets of multiple students at his school from time to time. And this blog obviously becomes quite popular. Now, leading up to his death, Simon actually teased 4 new secrets he was going to expose. And these 4 secrets seem to pertain to the 4 students who were in detention with him when he died. And so, I initially thought we were going to get a 13 Reasons Why style of show, where each character was going to have their own episode, where their secrets were going to be exposed. But no, the secrets were exposed rather quickly and in very unsatisfying ways, in my opinion. For example, there are 4 prime suspects here, each with their own secrets. But by the end of the first episode, we already know what 2 of the secrets are and who those secrets belong to. That, for me, took out of the show, because I feel like that was a very big missed opportunity. I don't know how it was written in the book and I did not care, but in a show, I feel like the secrets would have been a good way to build up tension throughout the show. Revealing them in such a mediocre or easily deducted way took away some of the suspense, drama and tension I expected this show to give me. So for me, that was a downside. By the way, I should mention, at certain points, this show did give me very 13 Reasons Why kind of vibes. Particularly, the final 2 episodes gave me very 13 Reasons Why season 3 vibes. And you get what I mean if you have watched 13 Reasons Why and you've seen the ending of the show. I will not spoil that. Now, as I said, generally this show does a good job with its characters. But one character I would definitely like to highlight who bamboozled me while I watched the show is the character called Addy. And I should say, there will be spoilers for episode 1 in this part. Now, Addy is portrayed as this not so bright blonde girl who is dating the superstar jock of the football team. We actually quickly find out that Addy's secret is that she cheated on her boyfriend while he was away in Europe for the summer. You see, to me, yes, that is a big secret, but when you're in high school, that's probably not the biggest secret that could ruin your life, is it? But then you quickly realize that there's something weird about Addy and her relationship with her boyfriend. You see, it turns out that Addy's entire life plan is to go to the same university as Jake, get married to him, and then become his wife. That is basically her life plan. That is our life goal. That is basically a plan to make it in life. While other people have plans like to become a doctor, become a baseball player, become a successful football player, Addy's plan is to get married to Jake. What? How is your life goal to get married to a guy you met when you were in middle school, when you were barely 13, and you basically bank your entire future on the idea of being able to date this guy? We've already been dating for 3 years, by the way, through 4 years of college, all the way out of university, maybe post-grad for one of you, and not to talk of how many years after college you're going to have to date for before you finally tie the knot, and you think that this is your life plan? That is crazy, and it's crazier to me that her mom even supports this plan. Like, oh my god, how is this even a thing? I just cannot fathom how your entire life plan from the age of 13 was to get married to this rich guy you met when you were in middle school. Oh my god, what the hell is wrong with you? What the hell is wrong with you? How is that the case? Like, what went wrong? That was very baffling for me. I really couldn't understand it. That is so fantastical. Now, obviously, why does she want to do this? Well, it's very simple. Jake comes from a very rich family, and so she knows that if she gets married to him, her life is all set. For a long time while watching the show, I wondered how someone's entire goal or life plan could be based around getting married to someone who she couldn't even fully trust because she was worried he was cheating on her. And then you meet Addy's mother, and then you realize, oh shit, this is why. Because Addy's mother is the biggest pile of poop that someone has shitted on the earth in a long time. I'm just saying. You basically realize very quickly this idea was drilled into her by her mother. And her mother is one of these people who believes in using your looks to get what you want rather than using your brains or any abilities you have. On the plus side, Addy does have a mildly satisfying character arc, which is something I quite enjoy to watch. One last thing I would like to talk about is the reveal of the killer. Now, like I mentioned earlier, it took me a long time to guess the killer. In fact, I couldn't guess the killer until the second to the last episode, which was episode 7. And that is usually a great sign of good writing, but I'm not so sure that's the case for this show. You see, in my opinion, there were very, very minimal signs pointing to the killer throughout the show. Basically, the show stops you from guessing what the killer is by giving you very little to no signals pointing to the killer until the final 2 episodes, which is the reason why I couldn't guess it until that point of the show. In my opinion, this is not good writing in any sense of form. Now, in one sense, it does make the show interesting because you're not quite sure who the killer is, and one of the show's major charms, which keeps you coming back to watch the next episode, is finding out who that killer is. But on the other hand, since there are very little clues given as to who the killer is throughout the show, and the clues given are so very vague. At the end of the day, you get no satisfaction from being able to say, I was able to guess he was the killer because I pieced this and that and this and that together. You don't get that satisfaction. Many times, the character who ends up being the killer is described with certain characteristics. However, these characteristics are not really shown until the final 2 episodes. And one little clues are shown are actually very vague and not incriminate the character in any way, because the vital information to make those clues look suspicious are missing until the final 2 episodes. So, with all that said, I'll say One of Us is Lying is good. It's good. It's good. It's alright. It's good. Overall, the show is good. The show is enjoyable to watch actually. They do a good job with the suspense, keeping you guessing who the killer is until the end, even despite the issues I mentioned. And they do a good job of keeping you interested in the story overall. The little twist at the end also points to the possibility that Simon may actually never have died in the first place. But that's a theory we're going to have to wait till season 2 to confirm or not. Anyway, that's it from me from today. Comment down below if you've watched this show and what you think about this show. Make sure you check out my All of Us Are Dead review. The link is down in the description. Like the video if you did enjoy it, and if you enjoy my videos generally, subscribe. Till next time, take care.